if you were ever reading a book and it said, I felt sad, then I went to the market and I felt glad, you're gonna be like, what the heck is this? You know what I mean?
Oh, we knew life would be alright, but who could have known it'd be this good? Oh, Lord.
Back at it again. This is like one of my favorite topics to talk about. I really like this topic because it's like one of the cooler ones, you know? It's not like, what was your GPA? What was your SAT score? Did you take the SAT? I mean, the ACT? Yeah, but what did you write about your essay though? That's where it gets interesting. Today, we're going to just be talking about some tips that I used on my personal statement that I got from teachers, advisors, college career coaches that really helped me write a good essay, because when I look at how my essay started and then using these tips to how my essay ended, there's a big difference. And I think your essay is a really important part of your application, because that's where they really get to see you. They get to see like your story, you know? So you have to make sure you take your time on it and that you're getting all the help that you need when writing it, because you want it to be good. You want it to be solid. Now, to start, I'm never going to be one of those people who are like, your application shouldn't be about this, should be about this, shouldn't be about this. Technically, your application could be about whatever you want. It says personal statement, and it's about you. You're the person that the statement's about. So I'm not going to say, don't write about this, do write about this. But in this video, I will talk about like things that might be better to write, or things that might be more revealing about you and help them get like a better explanation about who you are and stuff like that. Number 1, it is not a school paper. It's not a school paper, guys. It's a statement or essay-ish about you. So like, you're not writing to the President of the United States, you know? If I'm reading your essay, I read a lot of like people's essays, whether it's just like people younger than me who are asking for help and whatnot. And one thing that I keep seeing is that they're like, in conclusion, what? No. Or they're like, firstly, secondly, thirdly, in conclusion. It takes the fun out of reading a personal statement, because now I feel like I'm reading something that you would turn into your teacher. It's just too formal. Like, from the bat, if I see, firstly, I know that I'm not going to actually get to know you. I'm going to get to know a refined, professional version of you, which, yes, in your essay, you want to be professional, but you don't want to be, this is not a job interview. So you're not pretending. You're supposed to be your true self. You're supposed to be authentic, is a word you're going to see me use a lot, because that's what your personal statement should be. It should be really authentic. It should tell us more about you. The way I like to think about like, is it too formal? Is it not too formal? Is kind of imagine your personal statement as you're telling a friend a story that changed your life. Basically, that's what the personal essay is about, like a story that made a big impact on your life, right? Then with that story, you add grammar, punctuation, bigger words, and good imagery and stuff. It should never not be a friend that you're talking to. So like, it's your friend that you're talking to, but then you can add better words, add punctuation, grammar, imagery, you know, make it interesting, but you're still talking to your friend. So it should never switch from being your friend that you're talking to talking to like a teacher. It's not an article, it's not a newspaper, it's a story. And so it's not supposed to be boring. It's not supposed to read perfectly. The colleges don't want to know how you would talk to a teacher or how you would talk to an employer. They want to know how you would talk. You know? You're trying to take them into the world of how you live. You're not trying to create a world that you think they want you to live in, if that makes sense. Yeah. Second tip is think smaller and not bigger. This is honestly one of the easiest things that could like help you with your essay. Most of the time you're probably just thinking too big. Like if you're struggling, like what should I pick, what should I do, you're probably just thinking too big. You shouldn't really go from that many different times in your life. Like your essay shouldn't really be, when I was 8 I did this, when I was 16 I did this, when I was 8 I did this, when I was 10 I did this, when I was 14 I did this, when I was 16 I did this, and then I was 18 I did this. You see how we're kind of just like, okay, get to the point, you know? Like if someone was telling you a story and they went, when I was 8 I did this, when I was 10 I did this, when I was 12 I did this, you're kind of just gonna be like, get to the point, right? It's the same thing with your essay. If you're confused on what to write, try to think smaller. Your personal statement is not a life story. It's a story that represents your life. You know what I mean? That's like the best way I can think to explain it, because it's much better to trace like one thing in your life rather than all these things that happened in your life. So like instead of doing when I was 8 I did this, when I was 10 I did this, when I was 12 I did this, maybe you had a favorite color at 8 and now it's a different color. So now you're just talking about how your color changed throughout the years, how your favorite color changed throughout the years, but you're still just talking about one thing. And there can be a story there. Why did it change? Why did your favorite color change? Why did it go from yellow to black? Like, what's the story behind that? That's my speaker. But you see how like now you're telling a story. You're not telling an autobiography. That's what you don't want to do. So instead of talking about all different parts of your life, trace one part of your life or one story that represents your life and write about that. That makes it really easier instead of like writing all over the place and confusing you and the person who's reading your essay. 3 is don't say how you feel it, explain how you feel. Right. Don't say how you feel, explain or show how you feel. Now, this is honestly just a good writing tip in general. If you were ever reading a book and it said, I felt sad, then I went to the market and I felt glad, you're going to be like, what the heck is this? You know what I mean? You're going to be like, what? Like, what? Books don't do that. Stories don't do that. They don't say, when I didn't make the basketball team, I was mad. They don't say that. They say, when I didn't make the basketball team, I went home and I shut the door and I, like tore apart my room and stuff like that. And so now the reader's like, oh, he's mad. The reader's supposed to think for themselves. That's what puts the fun into reading your stories. The reader's thinking for themselves. They get to be like, oh, dang, she did that. He must have been really mad. They get to think that instead of you being like, I didn't make the team and I was mad. There's no fun in reading that because now you're like, okay, you were mad. It's kind of scary, but you want the reader to think for themselves, but you want to explain or show how you feel in a way that they're thinking exactly what you want them to think. I don't know if that makes any sense. But yeah. For example, if you're reading the sentence that says, when she smacked me, I was sad. You could write that, or you could write something like, her smack left a cold mark on not only my face, but my heart.
What?
You see how it's a little like cooler than just being like, yeah, she smacked me and I was sad. You see how we mixed it up there and we made it like we gave it more depth. We didn't just say I was sad. But now everyone's thinking she has a cold heart. What's a cold heart mean? It means a heart that's like, not cold heart.
I've been broke so many times.
Yeah. So she's sad. That's what they're gonna think. I don't know what to believe. But yeah. Sometimes though you do it without knowing it. So honestly, if you're reading through your essay and you see the words I felt, I was ish. But usually it's the words I felt that just like take away the opportunity that you could use to spice it up. I felt that are followed with sad or mad or like upset or something like that. So highlight wherever it says like I felt, so you can highlight that part and then just like start thinking over ways to write it better and not just tell the audience what you're thinking or what you felt. Number 4 is put culture into your essay. This is like super fun. It's another way to make your essay your own. You'll be surprised how many things happen in your life normally that are just like super unique to other people, or just people couldn't imagine it happening to them, right? For example, if in your household they don't speak English, don't translate for your parents in your essay. You know what I mean? Like, let's say you're writing an essay about like a conversation you had with your parents. If your parents speak Spanish and they said in that conversation, and in that conversation they talked to you in Spanish, write in Spanish on your essay. That's your culture. You could translate it like in the essay, like maybe in parentheses, or say this is English for this is Spanish for I love you, or something like that. You can translate it in the essay, but make sure you include that they are speaking in a different language, because that is a very, very easy way for the colleges to see, oh, she's living like a whole entire different life. When she goes home, they're speaking a different language, or maybe they're eating a different food, or maybe they're celebrating different holidays. That's your culture, like the diversity, you know, that you bring to the school. So don't get rid of your cultural experiences in your essay because they make your essay stand apart from other people. It's very important that after you write your personal statement, no one could be able to erase your name, put their name, and the essay is still like valid. Your essay should not be basic enough for someone to be able to copy entirely what you wrote and it still be true. Like if you were to write, I went to school and I really struggled in math. I am a vegetarian and I am valedictorian. There are at least 1,000 other people in the world. Or I'm play sports. I'm the captain of my sports team. There are 1,000 other people in the world, at least, who struggled in math in high school, was valedictorian, and what else did I say? I don't know, was like captain of their football team. You see how those things are things that people could also be like, oh yeah, me too. Oh yeah, me too. But when you get to the cultural stuff and you're like, we speak another language in my household, not that many people can be like, we speak the same exact language. Or when you get to the special celebrations and you're like, we celebrate this holiday, or in my culture, we always have to finish our food and stuff like that. Like, not that many people could say that we celebrate this exact holiday and that we speak this exact language and that we also have to finish our food. Like, those are very specific cultural thingies that maybe like 50 other people could say that they do the same exact thing. But it sets you apart from the people who are applying to the same exact school that you want to get into. So include all the cultural things, all the traditions that you guys have. That makes you you. That's a big part of your identity. And so that helps make your application more personal, which is what you want. And my last note is write multiple drafts for your essay. I think when you're like going to write your personal statement, it can be really overwhelming because you want to make sure you write the right thing, talk about the right topic, explain it right. Just write and write and write. You can write 3 personal statements. Like, obviously, by the time you're applying to college, you've had multiple experiences in your life that have kind of shaped who you are today. And you might not know which one is the better one to write about, so just keep writing. You will be able to figure out which one is like better when you're further down the line of writing, but you're never going to find out which one's better if you don't write at all, you know? Don't put too much pressure on yourself when you're writing. I say write multiple drafts, write multiple different topics, just keep writing and see which one sticks and see which one best represents you. And yeah. People literally pay thousands and thousands of dollars for help on this. It's supposed to be hard. So just don't put too much pressure on yourself. You can pick what essay is best in the end, but writing multiple essays just allows you to like kind of word dump, and you get better results that way than like freaking out about what to write and trying to make it perfect on the first run through. So yeah. Some more little tips are just like imagery is really cool. Instead of saying I had black hair when I was young, imagery would look more like saying back when my hair was darker than the midnight sun. Than the midnight sun? That doesn't make any sense. Than the midnight breeze. Oh, back when my hair was darker than the midnight sky. You're putting an image in the reader's mind, and it makes it way cooler than just being like, when I was young, I had black hair. So that's what imagery is. Try to use it as much as possible. It's really cool. It's a really good tool and skill to use when you're writing. And it makes people want to read more and really like want to put themselves in your world. So that's a good tip. I totally forgot that another tip I have is to not let the entire world read your essay. It should be something that's really personal to you and something that you want to make sure you're saying what you want to say. So when you have too many people reading your essay, they might be like, oh, you should change this and you should change that and you shouldn't include that. And it kind of like messes with your actual intent and your voice. So another tip is to be selective about who you let read your essay. Maybe just like a college counselor or just like a really good teacher or something like that. That is it for today, guys. Stanford is very fall-y today. It's giving red leaves and some crunch as you walk. See, that's some imagery right there. Anyways, bye.